Here's a quick tip on how to make having an accountability partner fun. Make a deal with your friend or your partner. If one of you skips an accountability session, then you owe the other person a coffee or a snack. This will make both of you take the process more seriously and both be better off for it. If I happen to fail any course, I will automatically be placed on probation for 1 semester, and if I don't recover in the next semester, I will get kicked out of the program. I cannot afford to fail because the stakes are too high. I'll get sent back to Nigeria, or what's more, kicked out of school, and where do I start from? Here's the thing. Procrastination does not directly translate to laziness. It's actually about your emotions getting overwhelmed and having the fear of failure. In this video, I will give you useful information for breaking the procrastination cycle using practical science-based strategies to help you study smarter and actually succeed in school. Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Obed. Feel free to check out my channel's landing page and watch any of my practical step-by-step videos you happen to find interesting. I have a lot of them. So, heading to the first point of discussion earlier, I mentioned that procrastination isn't about laziness. If it's not, then what is it about? Well, procrastination is about avoidance, not laziness. Hold up, let's rationalize this together. Let's look at the psychology of procrastination. When a person procrastinates, it's not about them not wanting to work. It's actually about avoiding the stress or the negative emotions associated to the task that they actually need to accomplish. If you're anything like me, another factor that could be at play here is perfectionism. Just in case you're wondering, perfectionism is the desire for perfection in everything. Sometimes we procrastinate because we feel like we will not do a good job, and so we avoid starting the task altogether. I tend to do that because I overthink things and I want it to be perfect so much that I actually don't start what I need to begin. Therefore, what is the trick to overcoming avoidance? Well, simply begin by breaking down your responsibilities into ridiculously small, achievable goals. For example, instead of saying, today I want to study chemistry, try saying something like, today I will read one paragraph of the chemistry textbook. Say this to yourself enough times and all of a sudden your task starts to feel more doable and less challenging. Another way you could say this is, today I will read 1 page of the chemistry textbook or 2 pages of the chemistry textbook, depending on whatever your preference is. Now that we've understood procrastination and how to possibly avoid it, next, let's talk about the various strategies for studying and actually retaining information, because that's why you're here. So let's kick this off with number 1, the Pomodoro Technique. The Pomodoro is a valuable study technique that involves studying for blocks of 25 minutes and then taking a 5 to 10 minutes break. Psychologically, why does this work? It works because the Pomodoro Technique turns overwhelming study sessions into smaller, manageable tasks. Back when I was doing my PhD program, this technique truly transformed my study sessions and my ability to remember the things that I studied. I used it, I easily get distracted, so this technique was perfect for me because my distractions are now scheduled. Like most of you, I truly get distracted when studying, especially by social media. So the Pomodoro Technique basically removes the guilt associated to getting distracted and officially permits you to take small breaks so you can do whatever you like. And yes, scrolling through social media is also allowed during your break, because now you start to see those little breaks as rewards for spending 25 minutes conducting serious study. If you haven't done this before or used the Pomodoro Technique, definitely give it a try and let me know what you think in the comment section. Now, let's talk about technique number 2 on how to study and retain what you've studied, which is actually my favorite study technique. It's called active recall and spaced repetition. If you're not already using active recall, man, you're seriously missing out on a lot. Active recall is considered the gold standard of studying because it forces you to retrieve information from memory rather than passively rereading your notes multiple times, therefore helping you memorize faster. The concept is actually quite simple. After reading a paragraph or section of a book, you simply cover it up and try to recall all the key points on your own, even if you don't get everything right, the process of trying to remember, or the process of forcing your brain to retrieve that information, literally strengthens your memory way more than you can imagine. And that is the entire point of putting your brain to work and practicing active recall. In fact, for better results, you need to pair active recall with spaced repetition. This means instead of repeatedly trying to memorize what you've read on the same day, take some time to space out your recall sessions over increasing intervals. Like, try recalling what you've studied after 1 hour, then try recalling the same material after 1 day, and later try again after 3 days. This spaced repetition approach helps your brain hold onto information for long-term purposes. Think of your brain as a garden, and in that scenario, conducting spaced repetition is like watering the plants in your garden regularly and consistently, not just dumping all the water at once, which could actually be unhealthy for your plant, or in this case, your brain. Some concepts that might be useful during active recalls and spaced repetition is the use of flashcards, self-quizzing, or explaining a concept out loud to others. In the event where you do not have a study partner or a friend to teach your active recall to, a pro tip is to teach the concept to your dog, if you have one, or your cat, or your plant, or even to yourself using a mirror. Trust me, if you can explain the concept to anybody or anything without needing your notes or flashcards, then you've truly got it. Real quick, I will like to add that flashcards are actually very vital when it comes to active recall, because they help you get your information at a glance. And I've seen people use flashcards before. They're just a bunch of square cards, and you write the most important information down from a lecture or from your notes, and you put them down on your flashcards. Important definitions, concept, list, or whatever that you need to remember, put it down on a flashcard. And when you're conducting active recall and your brain is struggling to remember, you just take a glance at your flashcard and it helps you remember. And you can have like 100 flashcards for a particular class, and you have all the most important concepts defined, or the most important items listed out and stuff like that. But flashcards is just a quick way to remember definitions and remember itemized things or diagrams or structures, etc. So definitely implement the use of flashcards if you're not already doing that. For study technique number 3, let's talk about study environment and space. For this one, it's not so much as a study technique, but it is a crucial factor that impacts your ability to study. Your biggest enemy during study sessions is what? Distraction. You guessed right, distraction. So keeping those to a minimal level is essential for a successful study session. Personally, I like my space cleared out and clean before I'm able to enjoy studying and maybe have any hope of remembering what I was reading. So meanwhile, there are people who quite frankly do not care about being organized or having a clean space. Regardless of what works best for you, try to optimize your space to be comfortable for you. Basically, carefully inspect your environment, which could mean your apartment, room, classroom, desk area, right? And ask yourself, does this clutter or random item that is seated in front of me, does it need to be here? Does it spark joy? And does it give me peace of mind? If the answer is no, then it's gotta go. Pro tip: some people find white noise or instrumental playlists to be helpful while studying. If that's you, definitely give it a try. I personally love calm jazz music and saxophone instrumentals while studying. So try figuring out your best study environment and studying conditions and see what works best for you. The next technique is not really a technique, but also another vital point of discussion, which is find your best time to study. When it comes to studying, timing is everything. Please listen to me. Pay attention to when your brain is most alert and willing to work. What is quite unfortunate is that most people go on living their life without ever thinking about this. So you need to figure out if you are a morning or night person, okay? That's very important. If you're a morning person, Study when the sun's out. Make the most of the day. This means you must go to bed early so that you can come up early by 5 or by 6 a.m. to start studying your materials early on in the day. If on the flip side, you're a night owl just like me, well, make sure to study when the vampires are awake, right? Or basically when your fellow night owls are awake. I am a night owl who's been trying really hard to be a daytime reader, but I consistently keep failing. I'm not discouraging you from trying, but I have realized that I work best at night, and now I just work that way. I have tried things like going to bed early, but I realized my brain does not want to do anything in the morning. So if you're like me, do not worry. Just make sure those hours of the night when your brain cells are active, you certainly take advantage and put that beautiful brain of yours to work. Trust me, knowing your peak productivity hours can make all the difference. Just like figuring out your circadian rhythm, if you know what I mean. There is a famous quote by Elvis Presley that says, "Rhythm is something you either have or don't have, but when you have it all over." Think about that for a minute. So for technique number 5, let's talk about time blocking. Time blocking is an essential technique that must be mentioned in this video because it is truly a game changer. For this one, you need to schedule specific times for tasks or study sessions so you do not waste energy deciding when to study, because it's already on your calendar. It's already there, so you don't have to decide on it. One of the most used apps on my phone every single time is the Google Calendar app, because I just love scheduling and planning things. Does it mean that I always follow the schedule? No, but I try to block that time, and I am mentally aware that I had made this decision 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago or yesterday to study by said time. So knowing that and having blocked that time mentally helps me be aware that I have reserved time for studying, so I have to study. Time blocking is about reducing decision-making fatigue and sticking to a routine that works best for you. A little fun fact about time blocking is that it is simple but yet effective technique for beating procrastination. And this brings us to the next study technique, and that will be accountability. To successfully study and retain materials in school, it is often beneficial to leverage accountability because it can be a powerful motivator, in the sense that you can achieve this through study groups or finding accountability partners. For example, a study group is a great place for active recalls and gaining clarity on complex concepts, while accountability partner in that study group or personal one helps you to stay on track. Here's a quick tip on how to make having an accountability partner fun. Make a deal with your friend or your partner. If one of you skips an accountability session, then you owe the other person a coffee or a snack. Chances are your friend does not want to buy you free coffee or free snack every week. And I guess the same applies to you. So this will make both of you take the process more seriously and ultimately both be better off for it. And last but not the least, let's talk about your why. In order to effectively study and retain, it is often beneficial to remember your why, in the sense that ask yourself, why am I studying and what is the bigger goal here? Whether it is to land your dream job, to make your parents proud, or just prove to yourself that you can do it, please listen carefully. Write down the reason you need to study and stick it to your wall or your fridge. I don't care, put it on your table. For example, during my PhD program, I just arrived from Nigeria and I was on a fully funded program, right? So my funding was contingent, and I mean my sponsorship was contingent upon my continued academic progress and good performance. If I happen to fail any course, I will automatically be placed on probation for 1 semester, and if I don't recover in the next semester, I will get kicked out of the program. Well, at that point, I literally cannot afford, and when I say I literally, I mean physically, literally, I cannot afford to fail because the stakes are too high. I'll get sent back to Nigeria, or what's more, kicked out of school, and where do I start from? So if you've watched this video up to this point, please leave a comment down below and mention your why if you know it. I'm actually curious to hear what your motivation is and sort of like what your perspective is. To wrap up this video, I will say this: procrastination does not mean you are lazy. I'll say this again: procrastination does not mean you're lazy. Whether you find yourself procrastinating or just pushing things away, please remember your brain might just be a little scared and it actively does not want to carry out the task at that time that you want to do it. However, with the strategies I talked about in this video, you can crush your studies one Pomodoro at a time. If you thought this video was helpful, hit that like button down below, subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and please let me know in the comment section what's your biggest struggle with studying, right? I actually do respond to comments and I would like to know. That's what I'm asking. So keep pursuing growth, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you guys in the next video.